also on full lockdown.
Well, I'm kind of in the same boat as everybody. My work has sent me home,
Right.
which is fine. I enjoy the occasional nap every 3 hours. Thankfully, my wife and I still have an income. We actually just bought a house because
Oh,
that's,
congratulations.
yeah, like literally this past week. We asked the housing market people, what's going on right now with everything? How's the housing market? No agent's gonna tell you, oh, not good. So we uh we pulled the trigger, and it gives us something to do with all this unlimited downtime. And but other than that, just staying inside, trying not to cough on the elderly. It's the least we can do. How are
That's very
things over
true.
there? How are you guys doing?
It's a bit bizarre, but
Yeah.
it's for the best, I guess. I mean, we're um we're allowed out of the house for an hour a day, but
Oh,
strictly
that's the
for
same treatment they give prisoners in jail.
it is. Yeah, yeah, very true. And we're allowed to go to the supermarket as well as just exercise, so we do have so a bit extra than those guys in that sense. But yeah,
Yes.
it's a bit of a strange when you have to queue to get into the supermarket. It's kind of one in, one out, so that tends to take a lot longer than an hour usually anyway. But it's yeah, strange times, man. But I mean, are you guys? I'm guessing all your local kind of bars and restaurants and things like that are shut as well. Then
Oh yeah, nary a pub available. But a lot of our dining establishments are down to solely takeout, and those that typically don't provide alcohol to go have been because you got to recoup funds somehow. So,
yeah,
the average mom and pop burger joint now, while still providing takeout, is also providing alcohol. As far as social establishments, um, the shopping malls, the vape shops, the gay bars, I've checked them all. They are all closed. And so, um, basically any social gathering, it's limited to Skype phone calls and waving at the neighbors, which I personally am all in favor of. Anything that allows me to be social and pantsless, I'll soak it up. So,
I like it. I like it. But yeah, we're unfortunately most of even like food delivery places are shut over here. Like I think the
really,
only few that have stayed open is Domino's and like
it's hilarious.
Chinese takeouts and things like that. But
So
apart from
I
that,
was in Brighton, uh, 3 days before the quarantine was put in place, the weekend before,
you
and
were, yeah.
the last food I got, the takeout, basically my primary meal while I was there was Domino's. They were everywhere, and they got it to me very quickly. And the story was people ask, how's England? Oh, it's fine. I had Domino's. Um, so hey, English Domino's does right by me. You guys are blessed in that manner.
Is it not good where you are?
Oh, it's fine. Domino's is safe. You know what you're getting no matter what country you're in. It's the same recipe, same formula. Um, and as a man who fears change and is apprehensive to variety, uh, Domino's will always be my go-to, just because they're not going to spring any surprises on me. Same cheese, same dough, same temperature.
Nice. No, I like it, man. And so as a whole, then it's the first time you've been to the UK as well. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. It very much was my first time in Europe, my first time off of the North American continent. So you guys have a lot of lovely people there. You drive on the wrong side of the road. I told everyone that, but no one would listen. Um, but yeah, I had an absolutely wonderful time.
Fantastic. It's good to hear, man. And how long were you over for in the end then? Was it just a couple of days?
It, it's amounted to a couple of days solely because my arrival day and departure day were devoted entirely to travel. Uh, hopping on the train and getting to the London airport and being in the plane for 12 hours and driving from Los Angeles to my hometown, which is 3 hours away. So the Thursday and the Saturday that surrounded the weekend were devoted strictly to traveling. Um, Friday and Saturday, I got to relax. I got to hang out with Urge and Moss Prob and all the fun locals. Cannell's a real person. Didn't know that. Thought he was a mascot created by UK Battle Rap. He's very real. His English can use some work. I asked him what his first language was, and he said English. So, but
Yeah,
I
he's one of those North Walians, so even we struggle with him at points. So don't worry about
yeah,
that too much.
and and I learned that I love him to death. He's one of my favorite people on the planet. But if I were to ask, is he okay? They go, oh yeah, he's Welsh. I'm like, oh okay. I don't, I got it. But one thing I didn't know when I was there is, I was being the ignorant American that I am, and I was walking through town to the venue of Brighton, and I remarked to somebody. I said, "Oh, this is a really festive town, and." No, everyone's rolling their own fags, and they said, "Don't say." Well, we don't call those them here because this is the gay capital of England. And I said, "It is," and they said, "Yeah, you didn't know that?" I said, "I had no clue." And they said, "Yeah, this is like our San Francisco, and the reason so many people are rolling their own cigarettes is because we have a lot of hash here." And I said, "Oh, I just learned two things." So uh, the those were two takeaways I got very quickly from the London by the Sea, as it's known.
And I mean, I didn't know that myself in terms of Brighton having a lot of hash. So it's not just yourself being ignorant on that front. I've been there a couple of times
Wonderful.
and I didn't know that either. But yeah,
What
rolling cigarettes is
Cardiff? What's your stomping grounds?
so yeah. I'm based in Cardiff at the moment, but I'm originally from a small city about an hour away from here, just over the border in England. So it's I'm one of the few Englishmen to have moved here, I think, but it's
And
not
then is
too
that is
bad.
that a sense of pride? Is that a sense of shame? Is a
Mm,
do you feel alone being the only Brit in Cardiff in your area?
sometimes they're not the biggest fan of the English as a whole, in all fairness, so it has its ups and downs. We normally beat them in any sport, so it's great for me, but doesn't go down very well in this part of the world. But there's certainly more dangerous places to live, so I can't complain on that front.
Well, thankfully, you English don't care much about football or anything, so hey, lucky you. I'm kidding. I asked someone if they were a Man U fan while I was there, and I almost got in a fist fight.
Yeah, that'll happen. That'll happen. I'm a Liverpool fan, so I would have reacted similarly to that young
Oh,
gentleman. But I'm
like I don't know if you've ever seen a Mad Flex versus Soul, but there's a point where he asks the crowd which team, and I was very disappointed when it did not incite a small riot within the crowd.
I was very surprised by that as well because the battle was in Manchester, which is a very divided city as a whole. So it's generally speaking, I think he got away with murder there.
He did, poor soul. Oh, you're talking about the crowd. Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, you can take that both ways, I suppose. But don't talk about Soul like that.
I
He's
apologize.
our
I'm
guy
so
over
sorry.
here.
I understand. Tom, Battle Rap Resume Tom has put me in my place regarding that before. I will learn.
Did he did? Yeah, he's that said, he also I thought put me in my place before the event happened because I predicted Mad Flex to take it, and
Dare you? How
he
dare
wasn't
you?
a big fan. But I guess I'd take the win on that front. But in terms of yourself, then Laugh-N-Stalk, like you've been involved in the scene for quite a while now, and like you've attended events all over the place as well. But how was it that you personally got into battle rap?
Uh, I a buddy of mine linked me to Dumbfounded versus Tantrum on Grind Time many ages ago, and it was just a wormhole. I thought it was fun. I clicked, I went down the YouTube related video wormhole. Next video I saw was Dumbfounded versus the Saurus. Dumbfounded Tantrum had been out for a bit. Dumbfounded the Saurus was relatively new, and I watched it, and I was like, "Whoa, this guy the Saurus is really good." Related videos, the jump off WRCs. Spent an entire evening watching that, not completely comprehending what was going on. Um, but that's all it takes. All it takes is the first battle you ever watch will always be the most important because that your first impression will always determine how invested you are. So if you have someone with no interest and you show them something palatable, something they're entertained by, you can create a fan incredibly quickly and just as quickly as you can turn someone off. So I was grasped right away because the first two battles I watched were funny battles, and I'm a comedy guy. It appealed to me. The person who showed me that battle, 6 to 8 months down the road, said, "Hey, I'm doing a battle." I said, "Do you want to watch?" Sure. So we drove to his event, watched him battle, and in watching the other people battle, I thought, I'm not as good as these grind time smack guys, but I can beat some of these local guys. I've never rapped a day in my life, but I know I can outwit these guys. So I gave it a shot. I was given a tryout in a local league here called Assault and Battling, very creative name. And after that, it was all networking. So and so saw me, thought I was funny. Come battle out here, come battle out here. And back in the day, when I started, battling multiple times in one night was far more commonplace than it is today. It's essentially non-existent today unless it's a freestyle secondary battle or a niche so and so.
Or if
But
Don't Flop, but Charlie Clips or DNA, I guess.
yeah, absolutely. DNA keeps battling in multiple times one night alive. He's of yesteryear in that regards. He's the only one of yesteryear. But the first year, my first battle went well, and the networking was created where I was getting messages saying, "Come battle in this town, come battle in this town." Basically, your first year of battling, you need to battle as much as possible to kind of sharpen your sword, work out your kinks, get your face out there, so on and so forth. So I did it on a whim because my friend did it. I got into it because I thought it was funny, and my the ladder I've climbed to the middle of battle rap hierarchy was just due to incessant grinding and an inability to say no.
It's great stuff, man. And I mean, who was the friend that got you into battling that later ended up
Uh,
battling himself then?
yeah. So my buddy Daniel, his stage name is DED. He never pursued it enough to get his name out there in the battle rap rankings, which is a shame because he's extremely talented. When I started out, if I was ever in a pinch, he always had something for me. And that might be a cardinal sin in battle rap to admit, but if I was ever stuck, he would say, "Here, say this," and give me a four or give me a concept to sink my teeth into. And I'm like, "Thanks, man. This is great." He also helped write a lot of the stuff I did on a weekly battle feed, my YouTube show on Ruin Your Day. He's always been one of my best friends, and he's always been really supportive of my battle rap dreams because he's been preoccupied with his personal life. He would always encourage me to do it, but he he battled locally. He was friends with this guy Cypher, who was a promoter out of Central California. Cypher's battled on Dirtbag Dan's Battle the Zay multiple times. Daniel hit up Cypher and said, "Hey, this is my boy Brett. He's never rapped once in his life, but he's really funny. This is either going to be a train wreck or you're going to find a star." And Cypher said, sight unseen, said, "Yeah, bring him out. We'll have a tryout." So those two guys are the reason that basically I got my foot in the door. If Daniel didn't vouch for me and if Cypher didn't give no shits in regards to what the events he was throwing, I wouldn't have had an opportunity. And from then, I got to meet and befriend Cadillac Ron, who took me under his wing a bit, and those three really got the ball rolling. My buddy Daniel DED, who had a SONS cosign, the Suns rap group out here. They loved him, but he didn't care enough to keep it going. He got my foot in the door, and then I've had a wonderful assortment of characters kind of grab me by the wrist and pull me up the ladder.
Nice. No, I like that,
Yeah,
man. And is it Cypher 209 then that
it is
was?
Cypher 209. Yeah, absolutely. He's I always make sure to thank him every several years for cracking open the door and or more or less letting me crawl through the window of battle rap.
Nice. Yeah, I like Cypher as well, man. I've seen a few of his bots battles, like the Sam Colt and MC
Yeah.
Dammit battles and things like that. So I'm aware of him. But you was that so? Basically, I researched kind of your older battles before this show, because
Right.
I kind of became aware of yourself through the Essen battle, I believe, was the first one that I
Oh,
saw.
holy.
And you battled a lot on Power and Respect, which I'm guessing is a
That's a
fairly
home.
local league for yourself. Yeah,
Oh
okay.
yeah. It's a Power and Respects based out of. I live in because there's California, the biggest state in America, is broken into three parts: Southern, which is Los Angeles, Hollywood; Northern, which is Oakland and San Francisco; and I live in Central California. It's nothing but farms, and but we have it made because we're 3 hours north of LA, 3 hours south of San Francisco. But we also have in Central California, Power and Respect has been the primary league where I live, Fresno. Um, and yeah, so basically it's a good team of people, but I really was able to give them my all at any given opportunity because their events were 20, 30 minutes from my house. It's the luxury of geography in that sense.
Perfect. And the first battle, though, according to Verse Tracker, was on a league called Lethal Institute. So was that Cypher's league at the time then?
No, Lethal Institute was wasn't it was a league, it was a league, I'm doing quotation fingers. It was a group of guys that threw an event for a league they had planned called Lethal Institute. They had two events, and the majority of the footage from both events got lost in the ether and never wound up coming out. So they had the Lethal Institute brand held two events in Central California, and the 80% of its content never saw the light of day. And that was it for Lethal Institute. But that is my first verse tracker listed. I've had several battles removed from the internet for one reason or another. I'm not anything shady. I'm just uncertain of why they're gone. But they were terrible, so I'm okay with it. Um, I battled twice. Cypher was a part of that event as well. I battled twice that night. I was the only person to leave with. This is back when battles were judged. The only guy to leave with two judged victories. Um, but yeah, Lethal Institute was a blink and you miss it league in battle rap.
Okay, yeah, it does seem to happen quite a lot in the States, to be fair. I mean, most battlers tryouts seem to be on leagues that are kind of did 2 to 3 events and then just
Yeah,
kind of lost grip of putting events on, I suppose. But it's the scene in California. I mean, it's got to be considered one of the most influential scenes in battle rap. So I'm guessing it didn't really matter the league that you were battling on. There was always familiar faces in the crowd.
yeah, absolutely. Or yeah, and that's again, that's the luxury of geography. Leagues such as Power and Respect. We don't have any main stage battle rap names or personalities within our area, within Fresno. But because we're in California, Reverse Live is an hour away, or the QP is always, can get here within 6 hours. We're very lucky to have all these battle rap just legends within arm's reach in the state. So yeah, and that also benefited the smaller leagues just in terms of attendance. I remember my tryout event, just a Caustic showed up just hanging out, and so did the, QP and the Suns guys and Joe Cutter and just all these people I had watched on YouTube. They weren't a part of the card. They were just hanging. They were local. So we're very fortunate in the sense that we've produced a lot of influential personalities, a lot of big important names, and it's if you're gonna network, you could be the best battle rapper in um, you know, the Isle of Samoa, but you're not going to have any favors going for you with the crowd. You're not going to have Smack White there on vacation to notice you're the next big star. Um, and so we're very lucky in that if you are cooking on a tryout stage and if you are doing well, the likelihood somebody important will see you could be nearby, and that's always been a really big benefit.
Definitely. And you mentioned that Cadillac Ron was always an early supporter of yours, and you guys obviously you battled on power and respect as well, right? And that
We did,
must have
yeah.
been at the time, that must have been, like a really exciting look for yourself, I suppose. Like he was a huge name at that point.
Absolutely. And I was, at the time I was giddy with excitement. He was far and above the biggest name I'd ever battled. I was a fan of his before I had ever stepped in the ring. But in retrospect, I was not ready for that battle at all. I was still doing a battle rapper impression. I hadn't found my voice yet. Had I battled Cadillac Ron 3 years later, the quality of our match would have been astronomically better. I was still doing okay. I wasn't writing as Laugh-N-Stalk. I was writing what would a battle rapper write right now. And so it was a lot of forced wordplay about Cadillacs and drug use and car parts. And, it was just me feeling out my grooves. I hadn't determined what Laugh-N-Stalk was yet. So I was just doing my best battle rapper impression. And but thankfully, through the funk and the filler, Cadillac Ron took a liking to me. He said, "Hey man, I think you're funny. Um, you know, hit me up if you're in LA." I never did. I hate Los Angeles, so I never went there. But I was a part of Dirtbag Dan's Battle of the Zay events way back in the day. Cadillac Ron got me on the card. Cadillac Ron came to perform in a show in Fresno. He asked me, "Has King of the Dot hit you up yet?" I said no. He pulled out his phone. Within 2 3 weeks, I got an invitation for a tryout. So for whatever reason, there couldn't have been two more different people on this earth than myself and Caddy. But I think he liked that. I think he was so inundated with battle with, hey Caddy, I'm a thuggish, ruggish battle rapper. Let's commit crimes and give me some shine. And I wasn't that at all. So he was like, hey man, let me help you out. And he stuck out his neck for me, and I was super appreciative. And in our battle,
Definitely.
he referred to me by name, which being a grind time dork, I'm like, oh, Cadillac Ron just called me gay. It was couldn't have asked for anything more.
No, I get that, man. And then, yeah, it obviously massively missed by so many people, and he was just a huge influence on the scene as a whole, man. It's I unfortunately had tickets to a King of the Ronalds event that he was meant to battle
Ah,
on,
yes.
which was arriving in the venue, and like the stories that were going around at the time. It was one of the strangest, worst days I've had at a battle rap event for sure. But it
Yeah,
was
I wouldn't
yeah,
vibe. It was a tragedy in itself, but to create that vibe in a public atmosphere so immediately, it just is, that's a room nobody wants to walk in. It's just, oh God, it was awful. It was an awful time for everybody. And yeah, I know that I I didn't get to talk to him the last like couple months of his life, but I knew he was really looking forward to going out there. He was like telling me, he's like, yeah, man, this is really the only thing on my plate that I have to like not focus on, but he's like, it's the only thing I'm gonna make sure will happen. So it's a shame, man. I know he's missed to this day, and super influential
definitely,
dude in ways a lot of people maybe might not be completely aware of, but like that's the tortured artist, they'll never get fully appreciated till either they're gone, and even after that, not to their fullest extent. So
definitely. And yeah, I mean, to me, he was the original left field battler in that sense. So he he revolutionized battle rap in a way without sounding too corny. I was a huge fan of his, and a real shame that I never got to see him perform live because I know he was going to do a lot of his music as well, which I was a big fan of. But yeah, it's a real shame, man. But it's great to hear that he was so supportive of you from, from the get go. That must have been incredible. But in terms of like your experience with battle rap events, then, so did you start attending events as just a fan first, or was it literally your friend that got you into it started battling and you just went to that event and jumped straight in after?
Yeah, I feel that's actually exactly what happened. My buddy DED got booked and said, "Come with me." I said, "Okay." So I went out with him, and that was the first event I attended as a fan because I didn't know that there's a league near me. We drove like 90 minutes out to his event, and I said, "Oh, so there's a league out here, but there's not one where I live." And so I made the same 90-minute drive from my tryout a month later to where my buddy had battled. Um, and that was my first as a performer. Was my second ever event was my first as a performer. And then when I got back, that's when I started getting messages saying, "Hey, I heard you're from Fresno. Why are you going out to Modesto to battle?" And I said, "Well, I didn't know there were events in Fresno. This is new information to me." So after that, if there was any local event going on, I was a part as a performer. I made sure to go out of my way to be booked on the card. So I probably would have attended regardless, just because I was still a fan. But any event that I wasn't a part of was considered a missed opportunity to me. So
Sure.
I accepted battles on 72-hour notice. I would battle twice in a day. If I knew something was going on and I could get the day off work, I was there and I was ready to rap. So thankful, like I like to work. I like to be busy, and if I'm at an event, I love seeing friends and I love socializing. But it's such a social gig, anyways. You can be there to work and still see all your friends. So even to this day, if I'm doing pay-per-view commentary for King of the Dot, or if I'm interviewing people for Ruin Your Day, I love to attend events as a fan, but I also like to have to kind of be there with a purpose. And so yeah, I generally, man, this is a long ass winded answer. I attended one event as a fan. Everything after that has been as an active participant.
That's great, man. And I mean, going in through your battles, like as I said, so the first battle I ever saw of yours was the SM one, so I had to go through some of your older battles later, and like you through the early battles with Power and Respect, you can kind of see your progression as a battler with each battle that you do.
Mm.
It's you mentioned like the Cadillac Ron performance, you felt like you weren't Laugh-N-Stalk yet, you were kind of generic battler at that point, but
Absolutely.
there was always an element of your style involved from the very beginning, in my opinion, and it's been really fun to watch. But what would you say is your favorite battle that you've been a part of personally?
This is an answer that I mean most people would predict, which is fine because that means it's the appropriate answer. Is it's I well, you know what? Ugh, I'm over now. I'm overthinking. My favorite battle to watch is the hot air balloon. I battled the Saurus in a hot air balloon. That to me, that's the battle most people ask about. It's the battle most people know me from. It's obviously against the Saurus in a hot air balloon, so it's important to me, and it's a really special, probably the most special battle I ever had in my life. Um, but I also did a freestyle 2-on-2 in a hotel room myself and E. Farrell versus Carter Deems and Essam. Those are some of my best friends in battle rap. It was all goofy, no fucks given silliness where we just basically, and it was inoffensive, it was wholesome. We just basically out buffooned each other, taking polite turns and not caring. And meanwhile, we had battle rap royalty as our backdrop, laughing their heads off. So that to me, that will always be the most fun battle I've ever had, just because the most lighthearted atmosphere you can possibly cultivate. The hot air balloon is the one I'm most proud of and the one I will remember the most vividly for the rest of my life. And then outside of that, definitely not my battle against Essam. Because he's he's one of my best friends on the planet, but both he and I will tell you that that battle is terrible. So I appreciate you watching that and still finding interest in me afterwards. That means that's the biggest compliment you've given. Is seriously just a group of men being dumb, which battle rap at its essence thrives when it's that atmosphere. So yeah,
Definitely.
be
And
a toss between those two.
I have to agree, just in the sense that the battle in the hotel room is possibly one of my favorite bits of content that I've ever seen. I think
Q.
it's the whole part where Carter and Essam are just going off each other like I'm Lil Wayne if he had a Lil Wang and things like that. I was in
Those are
stitches,
incredible.
but the whole battle was fantastic. It was great fun to watch, and the Saurus battle as well. Like, how did the concept of that battle even come up? Like, why was that even thought of from the beginning?
So this battle, it was a long, obscure running joke in battle rap for over 10 years. Back before Facebook and before Twitter, the only real hub for discussing battle rap was this website called rapmusic.com, which is where a bunch of us would get on and talk about upcoming events and even book battles on there.
Sure.
And Matt Ills, the guy who owned Grind Time, certifiably insane person. Um, One time he made a post and he made a post about upcoming Grind Time things. He's like, "All right, y'all. So we got freestyle battles going on at the Lounge Battles event this day, and then we're working on a reality show about battle rappers, and then we're gonna book the first ever hot air balloon battle. All right, we got a lot on the plate." And the battle rap community as a whole kind of went, um, "Wait, what? Like one of those things aren't like the others." Um, because it's just dumb. Like it's not a like logistically, it's not a good idea for most things, especially a rap battle. Just audibly, even visually, like it could have really been bad. So everyone made fun of him about that for a very long time, 10 years. Um, and then when myself and Avocado and HBY, who's the West Coast photographer for battle rap out here, we were driving back from an event, and me and Avocado are really bad sounding boards for each other because we think silly stuff is like smart, and we'll badger each other that it's a good idea. So he's like, "Dude, would you want to actually do the hot air balloon battle?" And I'm like, "I would. Do you want to do it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I kind of do." I'm like, "I think we should." If anyone with a brain was in the car, well, I mean, we had HBOI with us, but if anyone with foresight would have, or cognitive thinking was in the car, they would have been like, "No, what, guys, no." But we and his idea, Avocado, is to say, "Hey, you want to battle the Saurus?" And I said, "Sure." So he texted Pete and said, "Do you want to battle Laugh-N-Stalk in a hot air balloon?" And the Saurus texted back, "Yes," within like 20 minutes. So our silly hypothetical conversation became a booked battle within half an hour. Um, and yeah, so basically it was a slow burn inside joke. That's how that battle came to be. And thankfully, all the parties involved took it seriously, and it became a good piece of content on its own. You don't need to know that it's a ridiculous inside joke to appreciate the battle, but it adds a layer to it.
No, definitely. And now that you've mentioned that, I think Thesaurus has mentioned that previously. It could have even been on Battle Rap Resume. Actually, mentioned that it was essentially he took part in it just for the concept of trolling Mad Ills, which I think
Yeah,
is
he has a history with Matt Ills, and so any chance to make fun of him or to something to take the piss out, he was very on board. And the source, he's battled everyone and has done everything. So anything that's refreshing or new to him, he's on board. I don't think promoters like provide enough variety for those who have grown stale of battle rap. Like the reason the Saurus battles so often, and again, not against big names, is because he's battled most of the big names. The reason he's down to battle on a hot air balloon is because no one's offered him it. So like, I feel like promoters are really missing the boat on the veterans' enthusiasm by not taking chances and taking risks. I think when promoters realize that, like Disaster had a midlife crisis for his battle rap career when the Bunker was around. He was battling DNA when he didn't know who his opponent was. He was battling Official, who's a woman. He was he was on Blackout as a mystery of like Hollow to Dawn surprise battle. When you've been in anything, when you've been involved in anything for too long, you want things to kind of get spiced up to provide a little variety. So the Saurus was very quick to take part, A, to make fun of Mad L's, and B, because he very seldomly gets offered something different.
Definitely. No, and I just find it absolutely fascinating that you guys were able to pull that off as well. But for yourself,
yeah.
you were fearless up there. Like you kept looking over the sides and like it was I don't know how you do it. I couldn't have handled I would have forgotten my material as soon as that balloon left the ground. So fair play to you on that front.
And I feel like a lot of people underestimate their fear of heights because on the way up I was shitting my pants. The ground got further and further away, and all the buildings got smaller. At that point, I was regretting every decision I'd made in life. But when you get up there, you adjust to the plateau. Everything kind of normalizes. You're adjusted to things being kind of far, and the fear kind of goes, or it did for me. I'm really white, so I don't know, but everything kind of normalized. And when I got up there, I'm like, the ascent was terrifying, but now that I've been on this balloon for 10 minutes and I'm not dead yet, I could probably go another 20. So yeah, then I was looking off, and they were under the impression I was going to throw my phone off, which at no point, because I asked the hot air balloon guy on the way up, I'm like, do people ever drop stuff? And he's like, yeah, all the time. And then I had a bit where I pulled out my phone and I pretended to talk in it. And when it was over, everyone in the basket was like, I'm not going to lie, man, I thought you were going to chuck your phone off the basket. I was like, no, no, that's littering. That's against the law.
No, and it's like with the hot air balloons though, when they're so obviously you're having to keep it as quiet as possible for your rounds. Is the balloon not dropping at like a rapid speed at that point?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you need the flame to keep you afloat. So basically, the balloon guy cranked the torch and got us as high as legally possible. Not like in the street way, but like physically as high as possible. And then he let go. He stopped fueling the balloon, and that was our cue. All right, get this round off quick. So I would do a round. The source would do a round. We'd go back up another 2,000 feet. So yeah, as we were wrapping, uh it was a very quick descent. We were dropping at hundreds of feet per minute. But again, you're not aware of that. You don't feel like you're falling at hundreds of feet per minute, but you are.
Right.
So you kind of got to take this 60-year-old man's word. Like, we're falling really fast right now. It's like, yeah, okay, Dave. Sure, I think I feel that, but we really were. So yeah, it was an incredibly fast descent that thankfully the acoustics doesn't make you aware of, because the audio was really good. If that flame had been going, all you would have heard was that. You would not have heard a single word either of us were saying.
No, no, I can imagine it's extremely loud, but
I
yeah,
say do it. If you've never done it, do it. I got it. We booked it off Groupon, um, which is an app website that provides discount deals for local goods and services. And
yeah, we have that here too, so I
it was
imagine
a
we'd be able to
Valentine's
find
Day.
it.
Yeah, ours was a Valentine's Day special. So
Okay.
typically, the package we got was or the package. How I found the site was that their Valentine's Day package provided was you get in, you have champagne, you fly the basket out to a desolate field, you have a adorable picnic, and then you fly back. Um, and so we flew out to a desolate field. We did not have a picnic. We simply packed up the balloon and drove. And then when we got back, they had champagne waiting for us in a bucket. And Kyle and Pete were none the wiser. They were just like, "Oh, cool, sweet, thanks." And then I was on watch battles on Rooney Day just a few weeks ago, like actually now it's like a month ago. And I told him that, and he goes, "That's why they gave us champagne." I was like, "Yeah, it was supposed to be for sake."
And I can imagine there's nobody you'd rather share that moment with than Avocado and Saurus,
I've,
though, right?
I've never felt safer with those arms. Um,
Definitely.
in there. Like if the balloon popped and we descended into the ground, he would just catch all of us, you know. So, but
No,
fun.
that's a great story, man, and it's so cool that you guys got to pull that off as well. I think it's incredible. But I know Avocado has some. I mean, pretty much anything that that man does, I'm going to be behind because he's just everything he touches turns to gold in that sense. I'm a
He's
huge supporter of his work, but he
the
has,
closest thing to Jesus in battle rap.
yes,
We
yeah,
died like he died for our sins in battle rap. Every time we screw up, he's here to provide his body as sustenance. Pause. But you know what I mean. Like he's every mistake we as a culture make, he's the first one to learn from, and we've all benefit from it. So yeah, good
definitely. And
guy.
he's got some huge ideas for similar concepts in the future, right? I can't remember where I heard or saw this mentioned, but he wanted to do a battle in like Iceland and
He
like
is an aesthetic whore. He loves to look at something pretty, which is great because he's the only person in our culture that thinks like that. Like we would be like whenever we would travel to some other country or state for an event, we'd be driving around and he would just look at local sceneries and be like, it'd be cool to battle there. All that would look great as a backdrop. Because he comes from film, you know, he was a editor, a special effects editor in major Hollywood productions for years. So he needs visual stimuli at all times, and he's the only one, thankfully, or he was the first one. Because of him, we have Bender versus the Saurus at the Golden Gate Bridge, and
yeah.
we have private Ruin Your Day dark room setting, and we have the hot air balloon. His ideas are outside of a packed venue, and yeah, he wants to go out to Iceland. He wants to battle in front of a emerging volcano. Um, like if there's a postcard, he wants to battle there. So I mean, I'm surprised he didn't hold a one-off in front of Big Ben when he was out there last time.
Yeah,
But,
and
his vision,
unfortunately, chalked out kind of beat him to it on that front. They
yeah,
Canal and Frost battle was kind of in front of Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament, which was cool to see. But
and
yeah,
because we had a Canal and Moss Prob on Ruin Your Day, and I know if there's a scenery battle, Avocados had to have watched it just to kind of kick the dirt a little bit. Like, damn, they got to it first. So I jumped
yeah,
out. I jumped out. He's witnessed that battle as well.
definitely. But no, I'm a huge fan of Avocado, and it's so great that he's focused on battle rap full time as well because he's just the work that he puts into the culture and just not even just the events because I mean he's improved the visuals at every league going pretty much any big league going pretty much anyway, but he's also
Absolutely.
just the additional content. Like I love the watch series on Ruin Your Day and your your weekly battle feed. So you've you recently did an episode of that. Obviously we're in quarantine, so I guess it gives you the time and the opportunity to do it. But
Yeah.
are we going to be seeing more of that?
No. Well, the thing,
Okay.
my whole thing is I ended the show when I wanted to end it, which was too soon apparently, because everyone asks about it to this day, and that's kind of what I wanted. Like, it's a show that was not meant to be champion. You know, it was a niche show that was arrived too early and left too soon. And so when people mention being a fan of it or having enjoyed it, it makes it a special connection. Like you were a fan from the early days of Ruin Your Day, and you got in before I was a big name battle rapper. So it kind of is a special thing. Um, and I've always said since then, if I ever break my leg and I have nothing to do at home, I will bring back Weekly Battlefeed. Well, here I am with unlimited free time. Um, and I made the episode, and I really don't. It would be a disservice to bring the show back because it takes away from it's like although it would kind of manifest battle rap because battle rappers always say they're retiring and they always come back. So it would fit the motif of the culture. But I like the idea of being a wormhole. I like the idea of someone watching an old weekly battle feed and then watching the next 20, or hating the first one and never watching it again. That's fine too. Um, so I don't intend to bring that show back, but that show did wonders for me. I got more opportunities from that show than I did as a performer. It's King of the Dot started flying me to different countries to not even rap due to weekly battle feed, and so I was very fortunate to be a part of that. And yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm always happy people enjoyed it, but trust me, nobody wants me to do that show again less than I do.
That's understandable then. And from my standpoint, just as a big fan that found it it's so funny every episode. I would love to see it again, but if it's
And
I
also,
understand you're
the
also
fact
very
that
busy, but
the fact it's not regular anymore um, defeats the name Weekly Battlefield. But it also makes it special when it comes back because since I ended doing it weekly, I've come back to like I reviewed the town business event. I did a Christmas special. I did a year-end review. So now people don't miss you till you're gone. So now doing weekly Battlefield 3, 4 times a year makes each episode special and makes me want to try even harder because by the end I was just gee, what can I Photoshop Big K's head on this week? Like I was burned out. So,
sure.
um,
No, I
it,
can
you'll,
understand that.
yeah. So I always want to create content and I always want to make people laugh, but I don't know. I gotta find something different. I gotta create a cooking show or something.
I'd love that too. I mean, a battle rap style action Bronson cooking show, I think would be fantastic. But yeah, no, well, I mean, whatever you do choose to do next, I mean, I'll definitely be supporting, man. I'm a big fan of Weekly Battle Feed anyway, and
Thank
enjoyed
you.
that a lot. But I mean, for
And
yourself, in terms of
another
your
thing, I'm
battles,
sorry, real quick, I completely forgot to mention. Um, Big reason I did weekly Battlefield, not a big reason, but one of the motivating factors was it to put eyes on Ruin Your Day. Ruin Your Day wasn't what it was when I was doing my show. So at the time when I quit, I think it was up to about 5,000 subscribers. Well, a few weeks before I ended the show, Avocado introduced Watch Battles. And since then, due to Watch Battles, there's now over 50,000 subscribers. And a lot of people think, what, why would you quit a show just before the audience skyrocketed? And I never did it for views. I did it because I wanted people to watch Avocado's content. And now more people are doing that than ever. So hey, that's totally fine by me. But what were you gonna ask? My blood type?
no, that's great, man. And I mean, Ruin Your Day is obviously hugely successful now, and the Watch series is there's probably battles that have been on the Watch series that I've watched there as opposed to watching through the league's YouTube channels, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like it's so interesting to hear other battle rappers kind of breaking it down and stuff. I'm
Yeah.
actually about to do my first ever battle. My opponent got
Really?
confirmed. Yeah.
Are we allowed
I've
to talk about it?
yeah, we are. I've entered the Premier Battles Academy. So
Oh, you were on I didn't even look at you were on that flyer they released with all the new names?
I am indeed, yeah.
Dude, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. It's been coming for a long time. Like I've been a battle rap fan for about 11 or 12 years now. Wanted to get involved since day one, but was still in high school at the time where I discovered battle rap. And then as soon as I finished high school, I moved abroad and lived overseas for about 6 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
then the last few years, I've kind of worked a lot of weekends and it's just not been feasible. But in the last 2 years, I've had 4 tryouts booked and 3 rounds of material written and ready to go, and the battles have always been cancelled a couple of days before.
That's
So
awful.
yeah, it's kind of sucked, but the academy just seemed like a way to guarantee that I'd be able to get my performance off, and I've this morning found out that I'm going to be battling DTH, if you're aware of him.
DTH?
Yeah, so DTH is the owner of Dub Scandal.
Oh boy. Jackpot.
Yeah, yeah,
Dude, dude, I don't mean, for someone who's like getting their feet wet, having somebody with something to work with like that is a godsend. I mean, just because typically, and he might be thinking the same thing as like, oh, dude, I'm battling a Daily Dose guy. So the fact you guys each have something to sink your teeth into is awesome and really rare.
definitely. Yeah, I agree. And I've written my first round this afternoon and sent it to a couple of people whose opinion I value quite highly, and they've all given good feedback. So I'm looking forward to it. But we have to submit our 2 rounds 2 weeks today. So the first round is essentially a qualifying round,
Hmm.
um, and I believe that about 30 people have entered, and they choose 16 of those people to go into the tournament. So winning or losing the battle doesn't actually matter too much, but it's
As protocol in the culture these days.
yeah. But then after that point, judge battles come into play. So hopefully it's a bit more competitive. But at the same time, it's the first round being a video round just due to the current kind of situation is something that I don't think is going to work in my favour because I'm 6'6" and
Yeah, that dude, are you kidding? That's definitely working in your favor.
no,
Oh,
I mean I'm going to
something that
struggle to fit myself in frame for the video. I think
is this coming out before or after?
this will, as far as I know, they'll so we have to submit it in 2 weeks, and I think they'll have it out within a few days.
No, is this interview coming out before or after your battle?
It will be before.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would never tell you what to do, but when this interview ends, we need to. You're gonna your gargantuan height is too good of an upside. Do not pass up.
Okay, I look forward to your advice, man. But yeah, looking forward to it. And my point with I've gone on a bit of a tangent there, but my point with Ruin Your Day and the Watch series in particular is just hearing how, even with just the regular guests like your Ilmax and your Geechies and people like that, hearing how they break down battles is just, it's fascinating for someone that's recently started writing themselves. It's just been a really valuable tool in that sense.
Absolutely, it's director's commentary. You basically you can watch something and you can process fairly quickly if it's good or if it's bad, but you can never immediately understand the what, where, and the why. And that's kind of what Watch Battles is for, is peeling back the onion layers on what makes battle rap good. So yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
I've always advised it as a tool for anyone, still working out their own personal kinks in battle rap, um, to see what the pros talk about. and become a Patreon because you can select battles to put on the watch wheel, and you can have Hollow to Dawn watch your tryout too. So ruin your days. If you're a new guy, ruin your day should be a very click, subscribe, like, ring that bell.
Definitely. No, I completely agree. And for anyone that isn't a Patreon, become one, because I mean my battle wasn't taken. Essentially, my first suggestion for watch was Soul versus Raptor, and I know that a ton of people would have also suggested the same thing. So it's,
Oh yeah,
if you have a niche battle to suggest, it's definitely worth becoming a Patreon, because they watch everything. There's a huge variety, isn't there? So it's easy to get your suggestion forward. But
and British people, you guys are the kings of niche battles.
yeah, I'll agree with that. I
The
mean,
concept battles, taking the format outside the box, even if it comes down to grime clashes. You guys, the April Fools events and the Adventures of Bad Bars, like you guys are fearless with the format, and I've always liked that about British battle rap.
I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but No Coast are actually about to start a UK division,
Okay, yeah,
and it's going to be ran by Bowski and Mickey Worthless, so the King
you
of the
guys thought
Ronalds
King
guys.
Ronald was dead.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be great fun. But have you've not battled on No Coast, right?
I have, yeah. I spent last year kind of being at my journeyman year, where I went to a bunch of leagues I'd always wanted to battle on and never had battled on before, and
Sorry,
just
yeah, you did
up
the
the
tour
time.
too, wasn't it?
I did, yeah. Myself and Carter Deems versus Shake and Orlando Coolidge. So
That's it. Yeah, yeah,
mm,
yeah. You've been on, as of the last couple of years. You've been a bit of a journeyman on that front. You've travelled quite a bit, and the league that I follow the most right now is probably iBattle.
oh yeah,
So
hell yeah,
it was great
absolutely.
to see you up against, especially up against an opponent like Shah G on iBattle. How did that come about?
Oh, Lex hit me up, and well, Lex had a private investor who said basically, I'll give you money if you want to fly somebody out here for battle. So this guy provided the funds, and Lex said, okay, I want you to fly a Laugh-N-Stalk, and I was like, cool. And I'm really easy to book because I mean, not to open up my personal records. Basically, the reason I travel a lot lately is because I'm at a point where promoters are willing to cover my travel and my lodging and all that stuff. So, and as somebody who just likes a quick vacation, all you gotta do is say, "Hey, Lapis, I'll come out here and battle so and so. We'll pay for it." And boom. But I'd always wanted to go to New York, specifically iBattle. So when Lex said, we want to fly you out here, I didn't. My opponent was not an issue. I just said, dude, I'll battle whoever you want. And he goes, all right, you're gonna battle Shah, which I was stoked about because Shah, he's he looks aesthetically like an intimidating person because he's a great big huge black New Yorker, but he's also not afraid to be silly. When you're someone who looks like Shah and acts like the opposite, it's gold. It's a gold mine. It's you know, like if you ever watch Geechee on Watch, and he's a gang member and he's from Compton, but he'll say and do the goofiest, silliest things. It's endearing, it's charming.
Yeah,
So Shaw comes across incredibly charming on camera, and that's who I mesh well with. Are kind of people who have a straight face, but their tone might not match their expression. So it was the best. And plus, it was good to give him a look. At the time, I was probably the biggest name he had gotten to battle. But Shaw's too, and it's a running joke in iBattle that Shaw sucks. We all hate. He's dumb. He's just an idiot, and then he needs to go away and die somewhere. But this is common knowledge amongst us in iBattle. But at the same time, he's incredibly talented, and he's gonna go far if he keeps at it. So I was happy to be there along for the ride.
definitely. No, and it was great fun to see, man. a big fan of that matchup as well. And I mean, I find it really cool that just your outlook on taking battles as a whole, that you're not one to request opponents as such, or just do whatever people want to see of you.
I have a really counterproductive ideology, and which is a very divisive way of thinking, especially when I compare it to what I compare it to is I'm a really big wrestling fan, and which of that term alone can really put off people who don't like pro wrestling in the first place. But in the world of pro wrestling, how it works is when you become a name yourself, you you do the favors by making other people look good. And so, I'm not trying to fly to these places and lose, but I'm trying to battle people who would benefit from beating Laugh-N-Stalk. And so I might not be totally familiar with my opponent, but if it seems that holding their own against me is a good look for them and will bump their stock, then we all benefit. The league benefits, my opponent benefits, I get a free vacation. So, I'm not proving anything by going to, by writing my ass off to beat Math Hoffa, but my services could be better utilized against another up and comer who would take pride in trying to call me gay. So that's typically the direction I go in.
No, I like it, man, and it's refreshing to hear. I think, especially being a fan of battle rap that lives in the UK, everybody battles for. Well, not everybody, but most people over here, they battle and they expect payment, or they expect this and that, and it's just great to hear that you're so easy to book in that sense, and you're just willing to do what people kind of request. I suppose it's refreshing. But
yeah, I'm a man of the people, and I'm sorry that the UK Battle Rap League is so demanding. I know that it can be.
Yeah, I'm sure it's similar over there as well. But I mean, the thing for me with iBattle, the reason I probably follow it more kind of closely than other leagues is I just love the vibe at the events as well. It just comes across like everybody's. It's a real community feel, and everybody's there to react. And
camaraderie in the iBattle crowd than there is anywhere I've ever battled, including my home league, including King of the Dot and everything. I advise any battler who hasn't battled for iBattle to go and just immerse yourself in the family atmosphere, because you're not going to get that anywhere else. So you're absolutely right. That vibe you pick on that makes you such an iBattle fan, is dead on.
Definitely, and it's definitely the end goal for myself. I want to win this academy and then get straight over there. So hopefully
Would you ever battle Soliloquy?
No, I don't know if I would. I mean, I like to think that I'm similar to yourself in that if a lot of people wanted to see it, then I would do it. But
cater, yeah. But personally, I understand that. I totally understand that.
I mean, Tom's a nice guy, and I don't really know what you say to him in that sense. I'd find it difficult to write for him, I think. But yeah, I mean, if it was requested down the line, then who knows? But I'm not sure.
I just had to throw that out there before you take off and people hound you about it a year from now.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But no, I mean, me and Tom can do a compliments battle. I think that'd be great.
Oh, you guys would be great. Yeah, you guys would have the best one ever.
But for yourself, I mean, you've kind of already answered my next question, I suppose. But I've been asking battlers who would be the 5 main members if they had sort of a hit list of people they wanted to battle. For yourself, if we kind of rephrase it in that, is there anywhere left that you really want to go to, like any particular league or any particular country that you'd like to battle on?
I'd love to battle in Ireland. That would be great. I'd love to battle in Australia. I would enjoy that. In terms of like I mean, and I'm not just saying this to cater to you. Going to the UK was the last big thing on my bucket list. Like, I've resigned to not being on a main stage card probably about 2 or 3 years ago. Like, I accepted the fact like that's not for me, but it doesn't have to be. I can still do everything I want without headlining a world dom or whatever. So like my bucket list has changed over the last couple of years, but going to the UK was really the last big one. Um, Ireland and Australia would be great. And in terms of names, the only person, and I mentioned this earlier, is the only I would think like, okay, actively pursuing this is worth it because it would be a fun battle is Math Hoffa. But outside of that, it's all various shades of gray. Like I just want to have fun. I quit my competitive edge died off a couple of years ago, and my good time sword got unsheathed in a big bad way. So like a lot of battlers say, I don't like to battle my friends. I want to battle someone whose head I could take off. Well, I want to battle my friends. I want to have fun with people and it be an experience for everybody. So if anyone wants to book me and Carter Deems to battle at their wedding, well, we can. If people want to book me and SM to cater their child's, you know, birthday party, I'm down. Um, I'm just looking. I'm not here for a long time. I'm here for a good time, which sounds gayer than it is. Um, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really have a hit list of names of people I'd like to insult. I just have a broad spectrum of good times I'd like to have with friends.
Yeah, no, I like that, man. And I mean, you've made me kind of tempted to pop the question with my girlfriend and get you and Carter to come and perform at my wedding, if I'm honest. But
Hey,
well,
do it. Carter was the officiant at my wedding, so
really,
he and
okay.
yeah, was he and I do. We learned that we do weddings good together. But yeah, no, he lived in Fresno, and he became friends with my wife and I when she and I started dating. So when he and I did the 2-on-2 in Chicago, I told him I'm gonna propose to my girlfriend. Would you be the officiant? And he said absolutely. So yeah, and she and him were friends, and she was way on board with it. So it all worked out.
No, that's really cool to hear. I like that a lot, and obviously big fan of Carter too.
Oh, it's you don't have a pulse if you're not.
Absolutely, and he's it's a shame that he's never made it over to the UK. I know he was booked here, but had some issues with a
Yeah,
passport, I believe, unfortunately. But I've
yeah. Him and Harry Baker was in the was good as go, several years ago. But he's had his Carter could very well be the king of battle rap, but it's a combination of he has health issues, which aren't isn't the biggest secret in the world. And right now he's getting all these. He's on Wild and Out. He was a writer on Drop the Mic with James Corden, so his success is outpacing battle rap at this point, which is it's a shame for us, but it's awesome for him because a year from now we're all going to be in a movie theater if those are still around, pointing at a big screen and saying, "Hey, I know that guy," and it'll be Carter.
definitely, and I didn't realize he was a writer for James Corden's show. That's amazing.
Well,
But
not so much a James Corden show. James Corden had a bit on his show called Drop the Mic, where celebrities rap battle. And then that spinoff became a weekly series on a channel called TBS out here. So it was 30 minutes of celebrity rap battles. The entire program was devoted to it. So Carter got a job writing on that show. And, for people like Haley Joel Osment and Jay and Silent Bob. And yeah, Hollywood is becoming aware of Deemsy. And, we all just get to sit back and watch it unfold.
no, definitely, and I reached out to Carter actually to get him on the show because I'd love to. That I will literally speak to anybody. I don't have any friends or anything that have ever got into battle rap, so it's just interesting to sit down and talk to people that are involved. But Carter is. is part of the very short list of people that I'd just love to interview because I've never seen him really do an interview before.
No, he's elusive. He's like yeah, he's well, before you ask, which people have often asked, is the question that comes up around Carter. You probably weren't even gonna ask this, but the question that surrounds Carter is he playing a character, or is he a real person? Which is understandable because he's very different, especially in the battle rap world. Um, and they say, like, is he playing a character? Is he really like that off camera? The only thing I could say is you need to interview him. You need to find out for yourself.
Do you know what? I don't think I'd ask him that question just because I don't want to not like the answer. I like the thought of Carter sitting at home with his 45 cats and,
Hey,
tons of
yeah.
microwaves around his apartment and stuff. I don't want to know the answer to that question if it's not
Some-
yes.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss, but sometimes the truth is better than suspicion. So I'm not going to tell you what to ask him, but just hopefully you get the chance to immerse yourself because he's a he's meant for your show. Your show is a byproduct of his existence, and he deserves to, you know, provide his personality to you. You're a really good interviewer. You are one of the best English interviewers I've had. You're like half. You're like you're tied for first.
I'll take that. Thank you very much, man. But he's Carter has agreed to come on the show. It's just finding the time that suits him really. So hopefully we get that done soon. But
Dude, I was super impressed by your time zone calendar.
a few people have said that. It's
I didn't
yeah,
realize like that hadn't crossed my mind of being a feasible form of organization until I saw yours.
yeah. Thank you, man. And it's to be honest, it's just for my own memory. I've been doing the show now for it will be 3 weeks on Wednesday, and
You've already
this
done
is
500 interviews.
yeah, yeah. This I think this is episode 47 now. So
Jesus Christ. Dude, you are the smartest marketer on the planet. You recognize a time of opportunity and you're taking advantage of it, and that's awesome. That's really cool.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And it's been going very well. And again, it is just fun. Like I've really enjoyed it so far. Um, I mean, there's been a range of interviews as well. I mean, I did one a couple of days ago, which I released yesterday with Kelly Betts from No Coast.
Oh yeah, Dr. Ujeezy.
Yeah, and we barely discussed battle rap at all. I mean, he had so many stories about his punk days and
Oh yeah,
how he
he's
hitchhiked
a,
across
he's a rebel.
America and
Yeah.
yeah,
Have you are you familiar with Minnesota Luke?
I am.
Don't interview him. He sucks.
Okay, I'll
I'm
like the
kidding.
advice.
I'm kidding. Sort of. No, Luke and I have a faux rivalry, and I was really hoping you'd say like, "Oh, I want to," and I was just gonna be like, "Don't do it." But you can interview Luke if you want. He's a savant. He's a weird. He like, I don't know. If you ask him what his favorite battle rapper is, he'll give you the detailed history of Smack DVDs for no reason. So
Yeah, no, I'm, I listen to some of his older shows and stuff, so I'm definitely aware of him, but not, he's not someone I've reached out to yet, but I may do in the near future. I may slowly start to run out of guests soon as well, I suppose. So there is
yeah,
that.
dude, the worst thing that can happen is you get ghosted or they say no. Any answer outside of that is just gonna add on to your content.
Yeah, I've had some interesting responses as well. I mean, when I first kind of created a Twitter account and things for the show, one of my first 50 followers was Charlie Clips, which
There you go.
was very surprising. He said he was interested in coming on the show and whatnot, and we agreed a time and date. And then 2 days before said time and date, I received another message from him with a document. I opened said document, and he was looking to charge me $750 per hour, which
There you go. Yep. I thought that might have been what that document was.
yeah, yeah, I was not expecting that, but I respect the hustle, but
Yeah.
wasn't prepared to abide by his demands, unfortunately.
Well, once we get this Charlie Clips interview GoFundMe off the ground, we can afford at least 20 minutes of conversation.
And I look forward to it. But yeah, man. But I mean, in terms of coming to Ireland, then I think that's definitely something that could happen in the very near future.
Oh,
Are you
Ireland had
in
a bunch
touch with the
of friends.
scene there?
No, not at all. And I feel like I would like to be. Like as someone in his early 30s who now has a full-time job and stuff, I want to immerse myself in international battle rap more than ever because that seems so much more appealing to me. But my free time is last 2 years have been so minimal that I haven't been able to, like, I don't know, I just know I'm missing out. And then a bunch of my like Rap is Full had, a lot of people I'm familiar with going out, and they all come back just saying like Ireland's the most fun you'll ever have in your life. Well, of course I'm gonna
Yeah,
have FOMO and be like, shit, well, I want to go to Ireland. And it was something I'd look, I thought, because Ireland has, I don't want to call it a stigma because that sounds bad, but like a reputation, or like it, Ireland seems like that's where the men go to drink and fight. And so as an American, that's calling my name. Um, and yeah, Ireland would be a very fun time. Even if the stereotypes don't live up to my expectations, the experience would be just as fun regardless.
definitely, man. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're aware, they've recently had Saurus, Red Flag, Dunch, people like
Oh
that
yeah,
over for an
those are
event.
my friends. Those were the guys that came back and told me how great Ireland was.
Yeah, and it's definitely achievable. The yearly Broken Resolutions event that they're doing has an investor called Matt, which is making everything possible. And I know it has plans to do. I don't think he wants to do a 2-day event again, so I think it's going to go back to a 1-day event next year. But I'd say it's definitely achievable to get yourself over for that. I know they wanted to book Carter um, to battle
Yeah,
a guy called JPEG, and unfortunately, I think Carter was busy. But yourself and JPEG makes sense as well. So I'll
that'd be a good time. Put in
I'm
a
gonna
word
drop
for me.
some hints and try and get you over for that. So that'd be
I
great.
just
But
talked to Laugh-N-Stalk, and he's trying to sell his firstborn child so he can battle in Ireland.
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna
The kids, so they'll be none the wiser.
gonna spread it up and tell them that you've seen JPEG and you hate him or something like that, and see what we can
Yeah,
do. But
I asked him how his day was, and he just started. He had a full verse for JPEG written. I
yeah,
was like, oh, how odd.
but yeah, we'll get that sorted, man. We'll get you over to Ireland. But I mean, how was the Brighton event as a whole? Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. It's about a 5-6 hour drive from here, so
Gosh,
like I've been saying for a long time on many Facebook forum posts that I'd love to see you over here, and the one time that you're booked is
I'm
a
sorry.
weekend that I couldn't make, unfortunately. But how was the event? Was it a big event
It
in
was great.
terms of
No, it was
crowd?
not a big event. I
Okay.
mean, in terms of scope, it was not just like the names on the flyer and um, the pump and circumstance that was put into it. It was not, but in a way, that was great. That might have been the best part because it was a smaller, intimate room. Everybody was reacting. It was a more immersive show. It wasn't a big, spectacle. The more personable you keep events, the more engaging they are. So it was, although it was on the smaller side, that made the camaraderie better. It made the acoustics in the venue better. Um, And I thought the event was great. We had casuals and we had diehard battle rap fans. So people who wandered in and enjoyed what they found, and then people who were excited to see names they recognized from Don't Flop. So it was a good event. Hulk killed it and did really well. And I'm not going to list everybody on the flyer. But I just realized that people get offended when you don't mention them. But on the whole, I really enjoyed the entire event. And then, after the event, we wandered out and filmed some freestyle battles because that's far more normal out there than it is here. And that was great. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. I haven't done this in 10 years. So the event
Yeah.
itself was great. I bought a bottle of Don't Flop hot sauce, which got confiscated at customs.
Oh
Um,
no.
yeah. So God knows the TSA agents probably putting that on their food the hour after I left. Um, but it was great. It was awesome. Erg treated me very well, and Moss Prob is the sweetest man you'll ever meet in your life. So everything it was good. I had fun. I don't know about everybody else, but I had fun.
No, it's good to hear, man. And don't flop. I did get to go to the event that they did the weekend before, which was in Bristol. And they're doing a lot of events in smaller venues than they would have a few years ago. But like you said, it's really fun to go to their events now because generally speaking, in the UK, battle rap's so niche that every event, 90% of the people there. Whereas with Don't Flop events recently, they're going to cities where they don't get too many events, and it's attracting a newer crowd in, and it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying what they're putting together, so it's
And
great to see that you're a
the,
part of that.
the UK battle scene, from an outsider's perspective, seems rather fragmented because there's the Don't Flop falling out, and then all the chalked out and Premier and all the leagues that's from its aftermath arose, and then those created division, and now it just seems like, again, I'm an American viewing this from afar, but like it seems fragmented. And so when there are things like Don't Flop making strides into smaller venues, or Premier giving a format to newer names, it's cool. I like it when you guys make moves because the UK scene is too big to ignore.
Definitely, and yeah, I completely agree. It is very fragmented in the sense that it's difficult to keep up with who's battling where at the moment, but it's it's kind of getting a bit more back to normal now. Chalked out, unfortunately, no longer exists.
But
Code Red haven't done an event for I want to say about 2 years now. Um,
King
it
of the
is,
Rock, God rest his soul.
yeah, and I think no code even back then when it was Don't Flop and King of the Ronalds were sort of the only leagues going over here. It was fine because King of the Ronalds were very left field and different. They weren't doing what Don't Flop were doing,
Yeah.
so it was easily accessible to everyone.
Hey,
Whereas,
let's give base mentality their due.
yeah, I be honest, that's something that I never followed. But yeah, very left field as well. But it's um it's getting a bit more back to normal here anyway. I think the scene's starting to look healthy again, and I think especially with the break that we have forced upon us at the moment, I think it's actually going to help to improve it further. I think the forums have never been this kind of packed with positive content in that everybody's
Yeah.
sending for each other again, or everybody's like putting together little video tournaments and things like that. I think it's going to be really healthy for the scene overall. So
And
hopefully it'll be back to normal soon.
an absence of chavs.
That too. Yeah.
I uh I don't want to spoil anything, but in my battle against Moss Prob, it didn't go over as well as I thought, which is typically if I write something that I find too funny, it means the crowd won't like it, but I do it anyways to keep myself interested. So what I did was I looked up a lot of British slang and British terms, and I made an entire scheme where I had looked them all up, but I didn't look up the meanings. So everything was wrong. Every term was not used correctly. It's just like it's like a uh, you and me and your mom smashed bits. Damp squib. I was chuffed in her lorry. She said that I was minging and that I fucked like a Tory. Like it was all British words, but none of which made sense. And I think the crowd was too casual to see how meta I was being. But but yeah, since then I've really immersed myself into taking the piss out of your language.
I love it, and I'm now looking forward to the battle even more.
Just know it doesn't go. I feel like if you know going into it that the crowd's not going to enjoy it, that it actually makes it even funnier. I know when I watch it back, that's what I'm going to get a kick out of.
I never thought I'd hear Laugh-N-Stalk say the word minging, but I love it. I can't wait to see the battle now.
Oh yeah, I was chirping all night.
Nice, you go, girl. But it's like, yeah. I mean, we're used to it on that front as well. I remember Big T doing an interview
Oh
where he
yeah.
was asked where he loves, well, like where he's enjoyed battling in England, and he mentioned Amsterdam. So we're very
And
much used
if
to
you
it.
get an American up there, boy, for the first time especially, we're gonna pander. It's in our nature. And to be honest, it's kind of what you want. We know that an American coming in, like we have to kind of pander a bit. We have to put on our pander bear outfit a little, even if it's really just tongue in cheek. So I really sunk my teeth into that. I'll never be able to do it again. Next time I battle in England, I can't talk about England at all because I had my chance. I had my 3 rounds to do that. So I'm actually gonna have to acknowledge my opponent next time, which I'm not looking forward to.
That's fair. No, I appreciate that, but it sounds great. I'm looking forward to seeing the battle even more now. But I'm glad you had a good time over here as well, man. It's we've I think a couple of people have had bad experiences over here at times, like with not getting into the country and things like that for bizarre reasons. I know Thesaurus struggles just off the fact that he's a professional
Yes.
poker player, which is very bizarre, but it's always good to hear that you and like people are coming over and enjoying themselves. I spoke to Real Sick, if you're aware of him,
Absolutely.
just before this, and he's desperate to get back over here and battle again, which is really good to hear too. But
Yeah, you guys have I feel like sometimes you guys might take for granted what you have out there. And by that I mean 2 different types of water. We don't have that here. I was on a plane and I asked for a water, take a sip, and I'm like, what is this bland soda? And they're like, oh yeah, that's you wanted still water. And I was like, this what? There's 2 waters? So I hope you guys don't
okay, so you don't get sparkling water over there.
know. Sparkling water is a very 80%, the majority of restaurants and establishments don't have it. A large chunk of just general stores don't carry it. We have Pellegrino. You have to ask for Pellegrino. It's the only sparkling water, and no, we just have regular water. So that was
Okay,
a that sparkling water calls my name, and I want to go back to England just for that.
nice. Yeah, no, San Pellegrino is you've got to be a bit of a posh snob to drink that over here, but sparkling
Which I
water
am.
is yeah, no, fair. You
Well, I'm
stick to that,
very
man. I've
push.
got no problem with that. But yeah, sparkling
Me,
water needs to take off.
me and my Burberry. Yeah.
Yeah, just the pronunciation of Burberry has spoken volumes there, I'm afraid. But
Yeah. Can you tell that I'm high class? No, Burberry.
no,
I,
but
I I outed myself on that one real quick.
on the subject of bizarre things that you tried in the UK, then was there anything else?
Yeah, you guys have extremely exotic flavored potato chips. I bought a can of Pringles. The flavor was Peking duck with hoisin sauce, and I brought it back home and I opened it at my work, and it was disgusting. It was mortifying, and I was encouraging all my coworkers, "Come try this. It tastes like shit. You have to try this." Um, but that's not because you have different palates. Your chocolate is much different. You guys, Cadbury's your primary chocolate, which is I'm a huge fan of. And so, it's I can't say that you guys have weird tasting food because our food probably to you would taste like just a diabetic coma. Um, but yeah, the
So over
Pringles.
here, we've recently had a kind of branch of shops open up, which is called Americandy.
Hell yeah,
Um,
let's go.
and I mean, I've done a little bit of experimenting with certain stuff in there, but unfortunately, it's extremely expensive. So whereas we'll pay for like the regular red Skittles, for example, we'll probably pay about 80 cents for a packet of those. Whereas if we buy like you guys have like wild berry Skittles and things like that, if we buy those, they're probably about $5.
That's insane.
So yeah,
That's
it costs us a lot to do, but the
but
uh,
that's
uh,
fun. That store exists for you guys.
yeah, and I've tried a few things that I like and a few things that are horrific, and I have to tell you, after spending probably about $15 on a small bottle of like liquid cheese, you guys eat some strange things.
The thing about America is we're just an extremely fat capitalist country, but our FDA standards are wildly low. So, like, we've had a lot of the battle rappers that come down to America from Canada. They first thing they always say is they go to the cereal section at our grocery stores because it's just pure sugar. We have candy based like Hershey's milk chocolate cereal and just marshmallows, and we are killing ourselves in the most delicious way possible. Um, like you said, liquid cheese, yeah, like we can buy gallon-sized cups of soda at our 7-Elevens. It's what 64, 72 ounces, or maybe a little under a gallon. Um, yeah, we know how to party here.
Oh, definitely, definitely, but yeah, cereal as well, like Fruit Loops or whatever they're called. I'm sorry, but it's
You're
not
right.
nice.
You got it right.
Horrible things, man. I don't know how you guys do it over there, but
And
portion
well,
sizes as well. Did that surprise you over here?
to an extent, yeah. I mean, your bottled sodas, ours. What's our standard size? It's 20 ounces. The yours is like 16. It's like marginally smaller. So
Sure.
every time I would get something from the airport, like store, I was just be like, "Oh, this is cute. Oh, this is cute." Uh, it was just moderately smaller than what I normally buy in the States. Um, yeah, I mean, I kept my diet fairly Americanized because as much as I wanted to enjoy British cuisine, I didn't want to get diarrhea on a 12-hour flight. So I went to an artisan cafe and I ordered the New Yorker sandwich, which is all food I recognize and could pronounce. Um, yeah, I brought a whole bunch of protein bars with me because as much as I want to enjoy the culture around me, I also don't want to shoot myself in the foot and then get on a plane for a long time.
That's fair enough. I can
But,
appreciate that. And
but in the sights and smells.
in terms of our cuisine as a whole, you're not really missing out on much, if I'm completely honest with you. But yeah,
One thing you guys don't have, which we have because we're so close to Mexico, is spice. You guys, if you ever been to the States?
I haven't yet. No.
You should. You need to pick well, go wherever you can, but I encourage you to try all the spice you can. Now you probably have a sensitive European tongue that might not be able to tolerate a lot of spice, but I encourage you. That's an experience that a lot of tourists they're so taken aback by the Statue of Liberty that they don't think to try ethnic food and ethnic cuisine. Um, yeah, man, you should come out here. Come battle. You're a battle rapper. Come come battle and I battle.
It's
We'll head up.
definitely on the cards, man. And my plan is, my plan has been to come over for Town Business 3 at the end of the year, which looks like might be postponed so that they can do the blackout event now. But
Mm.
whichever event they decide to do, I'm hoping to come over for that. And in terms of spice, I may surprise you on that front. I think I can handle it pretty well. We went traveling around Thailand last year.
Oh, never.
Um,
Oh, you told me that, and you also said you lived overseas, so you might be more. You might have a more flavorful palate than I do.
Maybe, but yeah, the spice is it's fine for me. I can handle that, no problem. So it should be good. But I mean, what's your go-to cuisine then, out of interest?
You guys have this. Have you guys have this food out there called hot dogs?
We have.
In America, we have the best hot dogs. It's a comfort food. If no one quite sure what it consists of. We think it's all the factory parts of like the meat that falls out in the drain. You kind of slap them together and make a hot dogs out of them.
That's
Um,
fine by me.
so yeah, we have delicatessen hot dogs. We have all beef, no nitrate, uh, proteins, Italian sausage, Frankfurter links. So my favorite food is sandwiches. I don't like hot dogs at all.
Nice. No, I like it. I was expecting some extremely American like chicken and waffles or something, but
No, I'm American. I do. I mean, I love barbecue, and that's what you'll get. It's basically, if there's a meat, you can throw on fire, and then we'll eat it. So yeah, the thing is, I'm from California, and so my as much as I love barbecue and I love Americana, you got to talk to Carter about that because he's from the South, which is it's where the hillbillies and the rednecks live. Um,
yeah.
so he he's more familiar with that type of environment than I am. But no, I'm sorry. Yeah, McDonald's. I love me some Mickey D's, boy.
Yeah, that's more to what I was expecting, if I'm honest. But
I
no,
want to
fair
live up
enough, man.
to dreams. My favorite is eating guns because we love guns over here.
True. Yeah, they're delicious, but yeah, it's that is kind of it for the battle rap related questions, and we've gone off very unrelated ever since. But in terms of your music taste, like, what would you? It's a hard question as well. Don't get me wrong, but if you had to pick your three all-time favorite albums off the spot, what would you go with?
Ooh, any genre?
Any genre at all.
Interesting. Okay. Do they have to be music that you hear? Okay, no, you know what? You're fine. I'm getting too abstract with it. Top three albums. I would go as far as to say, I want to say, are you familiar with Joker Star?
I am indeed.
Okay, Joker Star is definitely up there. Scabman the Scaldy. I'm just gonna go by artists, not so much albums. And then the Vanderbilts.
Okay, I like the selection there. It's that's good. Big fan of
Also,
that.
shout out to the Stragglers and you know, Skirmish. I'm looking at your Facebook Live.
Nice. I like it. There's a a good variety, man. It's you know your stuff on UK hip hop or Irish hip hop too, so fair play.
Boy,
Nice. But I mean, I was about to ask who your your favourite live act is in terms of gigs that you've attended, but would Dusty Stragglers and Scabman Scaldy fall under that category too?
No. Live acts, I don't go outdoors, so my live acts library is relatively limited.
Okay,
But yeah, for sure. Skyman Scaldy, top one.
nice. I like it, man. But the final question, and again, I'm looking forward to the answer for this one, but any lesser known musicians that you're a fan of that we may not have heard of over here?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let me see. Lesser known musicians. Uh, there's a really good band called Toy. Uh, um, there's the Palm Violet, which I'm a big fan of. Um, just Georgie Roots. I appreciate the Black Pumas. I mean, uh, Exceed. So yeah, I'm gonna stop myself there. I could go on for days.
I like it. Yeah, Exceed is actually a battler from New Zealand that has moved to Toronto. So if you
Oh
ever
boy.
want an accessible battle with a Kiwi, then he's your man.
Finally, that was on my bucket list.
I can imagine. But yeah, he's your go-to guy. But and the three final questions that I've been ending up with are they're very random. Do you have a favorite sports team?
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Los Angeles Rams football team, and when I say football, I mean American football. Um, when it comes to
The
European,
sport that has no relation to your feet, yeah?
yeah, well, you use them to run, so in a way,
Fair point.
yes.
No, I'll give you
Um,
that.
you guys play feetball because you're all about your foots down there. So yeah, the Los Angeles Rams out here, the Los Angeles Lakers. I grew up a big Lakers fan, and a Liverpool.
Nice. Good to hear. But I've recently
Red-
got into NFL. Like, I've become a big NFL fan within the most recent season. So,
There's one team I don't like. Who's your favorite NFL team?
so I've kind of been a fan over the last season without picking a team. I wanted to
You
pick.
partisan son of a bitch.
I wanted to pick the Chiefs just because I thought Mahomes
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
incredible, but I didn't want to be a glory supporter.
Dude,
And
you're not from America. You could pick whomever you want. Here we have to pick locals, more or less. It's kind of the rules, but you can pick whoever you want. That's awesome.
I'm not sure you're gonna like the answer though, man. I've ended up going with the Chicago Bears being my team.
Oh, that's absolutely fine by me. The Bears have a big legacy here. They had the most dominant Super Bowl winning team of all time back in the 80s. As long as you didn't say the Dallas Cowboys, I'm fine.
No, no, the Cowboys weren't
Yeah.
even in with a run, unfortunately. So,
Oh, it should have been.
and the reason for me going with the Chicago Bears is probably the most ridiculous reason in the world, but
You're
I'm
6'6" right there.
that too. That definitely contributed, but I was a big fan of the TV series The League before I knew anything about NFL.
That's okay, dude. If that's your transition into the actual sport, go for it.
Yeah, that's what did it, man. So Chicago Bears all the way. But the Lakers, I've always followed basketball just because it's one of the sports that I could actually play as a kid. So I'm I also follow the Lakers and always had a bit of a soft spot for the Timberwolves just because I like the jerseys. So I'm um, I'm good at picking teams.
Yeah, you are, dude. I love your criteria.
But for yourself, you can pick any destination in the world for your next holiday. Where are you
Cardiff.
going? Don't do that.
Okay, probably anywhere. I've always wanted to go to Tokyo because I'm a creature of habit and I'd love to kind of be in whatever feels like America. Like Australia is pretty close to America. It's like this awful, beautiful English America blend. So I always want to go there, but I kind of want to go to Tokyo because it's the opposite of America in every way. It's the strangest, most like bizarro country to me, and therefore I kind of want to go there the most. It's nothing I'm familiar with and probably nothing I want. So therefore it should be the place I experience the most. So I'd
Yeah,
probably say Tokyo just because I kind of want to see what they sell on all those vending machines.
I'm with you. Tokyo is, well, Japan as a whole is my dream trip at the moment, I think. So I definitely agree there. And where would you say is
Be
your
a
favorite
select.
place that you've been to so far?
I have a friend, a buddy of mine who went to Asia, or went all around Asia, but he stayed in Japan for a while. And the fact he was 6 feet tall was like shocking to them and American. So if you went there, you would get treated like either a celebrity or Godzilla. I think your experience would be very special if you went to Japan. My
Godzilla, yeah, I'd love
my
that.
favorite my favorite place I've been to is I can't that's a hard answer because I love every place I've been to. London stands out to me just because it was my first time there and it was also most recent. I've been to Canada six times. So that blends in. New York is fine. All of the America blends together to me. Chicago was a good experience because Madflex took me sightseeing. I guess to answer that question, my favorite place is when I come home and get to lay down in bed with my wife and dogs.
Fair. That's a lovely answer. I appreciate that. And
I'm
the
gonna play that for her later and get some. All right, what was your last question or next question? I'm sorry.
and the last one we've kind of touched on actually, but you can pick one sweet and one savory, but what is the go-to snack?
Um, Savory. I'm a simple man. Just give me a steak, bro. Just don't. I don't need you to tie a napkin around my throat and tell me that everything's honky dory. Just give me a nice rare steak. And as far as sweet, um, gotta go with the Daily Dose podcast.
Perfect. That is the best answer that I've had so far. So I'm a big fan there. But no, Laugh-N-Stalk, man, it has been amazing to have you on the show. So thank you very much for taking the time to come on. Is
Thank
there
you, man.
anything that you'd like plugged, like in the description to the video or anything, any social links or anything like that?
No.
No, no, that's fair. I'll make sure
Um,
that people leave you alone.
who's a funny person? Zayn Azrai. Can you tag Zayn Azrai? His Facebook, Twitter, if he has an Instagram, just do that. That's my request.
Okay, I like it. And did you get to meet Zayn out of interest?
No, that's on my bucket list.
Oh man, I thought he would have been at the Brighton event. That
I
sucks.
would have loved to have been. No,
Yeah.
I'd love to battle. My dad's been alive for years, so it'd be interesting to see what route he takes.
Yeah, I'd love to see that too. And yeah, I think that's a battle that has to happen in the UK. That would be amazing.
Well, feel free to holler at your boy Shoddy Haran just so he can say that's the worst idea he's ever heard.
I will do that, and I'll let you know his response. But
Thank
yeah, again, mate, thank you very much for taking the time to come on. I really appreciate it, and I hope you stay safe out there and the family stay safe as well, man.
I hope you stay safer, and good luck on beating the brakes off, boy, off Dub Scandal, man. I hope the best for you.
I appreciate that, and I'll send it over for some feedback when it eventually drops too.
All right, sounds great.
Fantastic. But no, thank you, man, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon over there anyway.
All right, cheers, bruv.
Take care. Bye, man.